to be ready, and then we're gonna click that button right now, and we are ready to go. So welcome back, guys, to another episode of Box Mining. Here today is Monday, the 22nd of March. We're approaching the end of March, and it's been a super exciting week, and this year has been just amazing for crypto. But approaching the start of this week, it's bright and early, 11 a.m. here. I'm fully rested and ready and looking at crypto, and I think this is a really great time. So despite the market not moving too much, I mean, Bitcoin, Ethereum, it's like this. It's like meh. It's so calm. I mean, everyone's saying like ETH is now the new stable coin because it's so stable, it's rock steady. Well, this is really a good sign because, as the prices kind of pull back a little bit and then it establishes where the support is, this gives a lot more confidence, especially to a lot of these more long-term investors, people who are looking into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and Ethereum and everything there. People are looking for where that support is and establishing the support, establishing points of where the market's very, very stable. That's actually really great for entry. So this is kind of like a internal objective this week. Like this week, I feel like on a weekend, people were a little bit phased out by prices dipping, 5% or 3% or these little tiny numbers. But this is where, for me, this becomes a much more prime time to look at everything, because this is when some people, they lose their focus. They don't get so interested anymore. They just kind of cash out and they leave. But that's actually a great time because that creates opportunities, right? Opportunities of finding what is new, what is gonna be the next game changer. And that's kind of the focus of today's episode as well. So, on the live stream, guys, we're going to take a look at the general market trends, the overall what's happening on the market. Then we'll go straight to news of what's happening, the latest kind of most groundbreaking moments that happened over the weekend, and then we're going to jump straight into some of the new stuff that's happening soon. Obviously, of course, the NFT non-fungible token market's blowing up. I'm getting infinite YouTube feeds on this, and it's relatively interesting. So I feel like we got to discuss this a little bit further. We'll discuss a little bit on the yield farming front. The landscape has changed a lot, to be honest, for good, both good and bad. And we'll talk a lot about, some of the in-depth detail stuff as well. So you guys know with this channel, Box Mining, we don't just cover the basics of crypto, but we're willing to go much further and dive deep into the more serious discussions that's going on here. And with that, guys, I really do appreciate if you guys appreciate the content here, make sure you smash up those likes. It really does help this channel. It's a YouTube thing. It's a YouTube algorithm thing, but I really ask for your help. I do this all for free. So the least you can do for the free stuff is to just click that like button, smash that down, pump that up. That really does help everything. And with that, guys, let's start getting going. Let's roll the intro and let's get started. All right, let's start off with the market. So market, not too much happening. Let's be honest. Let's be brutally honest here. Not too much happening on the markets today. So yeah, Bitcoin, it was down last 24 hours, but past hours kind of recovering a little bit as we move towards a new week, especially here in Asia. There's definitely a lot of optimism going on. We saw last week there was a grand opening for Genesis Block, one of the biggest OTCs in Hong Kong, building a Bitcoin center both in Wan Chai and starting off a new one in Tsim Sha Tsui. So this is something that's definitely seen in Hong Kong. More physical stores. And I feel like Asia is becoming more and more bullish on crypto at this moment. So when I wake up now, I definitely see markets going up as opposed to a few months ago where markets go down. But anyways, regardless, we're seeing Bitcoin really rock steady at 57,000. We see Ethereum at 1,700. Seems like these are numbers that we've seen before. And yes, absolutely so. We see Binance Coin staying steady at $250. Cardano, kind of recovering a little bit and moving up back up. So definitely the market has been relatively stagnant past 24 hours. And if you look at the past 24 hours, you definitely see on this front, why is it? Let me just do a little quick refresh over here. If you definitely look at the past 24 hours, you see there is some growth. All right, you see Harmony moving up quite a lot, Healing moving quite a lot, but you definitely see some dips as well on the other side. And I feel like there hasn't been too much ground either gained or lost over the weekend. It was relatively calm. And on that front as well, I do have to say I did take a little bit of time off this weekend. I think it was much appreciated. You guys probably see I'm more full of energy. It was actually a great time to take some time off. I just took a day off, had some nice, brunch, and everything was amazing. But I feel like that was probably the perfect time because now this week I'm refreshed and I'm ready. This week I'm ready to look at the altcoins markets. All right, so looking very quickly at Bitcoin markets and ETH markets, I'll tell you the story of why I'm paying more attention to altcoins at this current point. So Bitcoin, I'm just gonna put the big trends going on. I really like to look at the big picture. So not too much has moved in the big picture front. We still have that resistance at around $61,000. We're still not approaching that as of yet. It's becoming relatively boring to look at, to be honest. We definitely see a little bit more support coming in here at $56,000. There were attempts to kind of maybe crash Bitcoin down over this weekend. I think a lot of people were freaking out. If they're looking at the hourlies, they're probably freaking out this weekend. But yet again, I do have to say, I took a little bit of a break off. That's my honest truth. I didn't really take too much attention to this dip because I wasn't too concerned about it, to be honest. I feel like the whole setup right now is that the accessibility of cryptocurrencies is increasing. Anyone who's in this industry, they're anticipating an increase up ahead with more retail access. If you guys watch the interview as well, the interviews that I've done during the launch of the Genesis block party, let me just give you a quick preview of that as well. Let me just put that on my stream. But something that was interesting was this was kind of this was a very packed event, right? This was like that's Kevin right there, but you can definitely see it. I was like literally shouting, right? Everyone was here, everyone was trying to figure out. So this is the launch of the Chimchar location for Genesis block, one of the Bitcoin centers here in Hong Kong. So this allows just to give you guys a background if you guys don't know what's happening here. This Bitcoin center deals explicitly with cryptocurrency, so people can come in with physical cash and they can ask questions as well. They can come in with cash, buy Bitcoin, vice versa, start trading, and it gives a lot of confidence too, right? These Bitcoin centers, they provide a hub for people to learn about crypto and also get more confidence because people know that they can go to a physical store. Some people still really like that, that's interesting. But it's just in a very prime location. The green behind this is very interesting too. If you actually see outside this window, this green, that's a bank. That's Hang Seng Bank in Hong Kong. It's one of the biggest banks here. It's a subsidiary of HSBC. You guys probably all know HSBC, but yeah, it's a subsidiary of HSBC, one of the biggest banks here. So the location is right opposite a bank, right? So it's like New World, Old World. You guys come over here. So this is a big event. You can see it's packed. A lot of the Hong Kong crypto community is here. They're just chatting. I mean, people need to chat right now. Like there's been like, COVID's been hitting us pretty hard, right? So people meeting up, chatting. And I think something that's quite interesting was there's a few discussions. So I think one to pay attention to is talk with Clement Ip. So this is Clement right here. And one thing he's saying, especially on the OTC trading front, is that Genesis block is getting a lot more institutional customers. So big ticket guys, family offices, people who have a lot of money, right? They're buying up cryptocurrencies in large quantities. But the retail side, right? The kind of the normal average person, they're still a little bit concerned, right? The small accounts, they're still a little bit concerned. They're eyeing Bitcoin. And you definitely see that as well. Like, because this is on the ground floor, right? Because this floor is on ground floor, I was actually in the store and you can see the people crossing. It's near major crossing. And people walk past Genesis block and they're like, okay, I'm pretty bad with expressions, but they're kind of like concerned, like, what is this? What is this Bitcoin? Like Hong Kong mom and pops, right? The boomer generation, they're a little bit, right? They're a little bit concerned, and I feel like this is the one that I'm looking for. These are people that actually ironically need Bitcoin because the reason why, right? The reason why is because right now, with so much money being printed in fiat is going down. I think that's pretty much a known fact. The facts have been building up over time. And how much USD has been printed over the past 2 years? Go look that up. All right, what's happening with the banking institutions? Go look that up. How many of them are fined for fraud? Look that up. It's pretty obvious what's going to happen next. And ironically, people actually need to have more access to cryptocurrencies. And this is what they're providing. And I feel like this is, if there's a run up, right? If there's a run up, this is what I'm looking for too. So if you want overall market, if you want to have the access, you need to have more and more people understanding and getting into cryptocurrencies. And just to build that up as well, I definitely see, I'll just fit a bit of a news article into here as well. See, Robinhood CEO says we're going to offer a crypto wallet as fast as possible. You definitely see that. And so really what I'm looking for right now for Bitcoin to grow is retail access, right? I think retail, like people kind of talk about Bitcoin and they're still a little bit suspicious, but I'm looking for that major boom because something that I've definitely don't see here, right? What's also important about these charts is what we don't see, right? Because in 2017, we know that there was an immense run up, right? We know that there was an insane kind of bubble that appeared in crypto side. All right, let me just move out to a week and we'll just zoom in to here. This run up really makes the last run up look rather insignificant, but just relaying some experiences and stories here. Right? So what happened was that during almost the same time period, so running up to December, and then what happened was that in January and February, we have these huge crashes, right, in Bitcoin prices in 2018. So this was kind of like early 2018, you have these huge crashes. Support didn't really appear. And then after support appeared and then just crashed down again. This is kind of the opposite story, right? So after Chinese New Year, after US tax season here, we're still pushing up for Bitcoin, which is very, very, very positive right now. This is why I'm so bullish, right? So not financial advice, obviously, but I'm personally super bullish in crypto at this current point. I feel like in terms of the institutional side, I think they're accumulating. Like you definitely see the signs of that where there are larger and larger parties, like big companies buying up cryptocurrencies. This was never seen before, right? This is like your Teslas, your Meitus, they're coming up buying cryptocurrencies, and then they're not phased by these little pullbacks, right? Like I feel like maybe retail would be a little bit phased out by this, but I definitely don't see them screaming. And this is where it becomes rather important, because if the next explosion really comes here, because Bitcoin has a lot to offer in terms of additional value. We're going to move like way above this. So that's my 2 cents. That's why I'm bullish. Obviously, not financial advice, blah, blah, blah. All right, next up on Ethereum, same thing, relatively boring. Falling asleep just looking at this chart. It's like this new stablecoin. It hasn't really moved too much from 1700. Kind of boring stuff happening there. But that being said, of course, I feel like if Bitcoin's going to move, Ethereum, the next candidate to move, right? So even though Ethereum's struggling with some of the scaling issues, it's really starting to show. I think a few of my friends also messaged me over the week. They're like, oh, is there a way to make Ethereum transactions cheaper? I've been trading on Uniswap. It's cost around $40 to make a trade. That's really cutting into my profits. And right now, that is a legit concern. I mean, I've been known to pay not just $40 but $80 for a trade, especially during the hottest season, like the hottest time on the network. And I realized that right now, if you submit a transaction with less than gas fees, you're gonna get like front run. You're gonna fail that transaction and you're gonna get a worse rate 5 minutes later. So the side consequence right now is on Ethereum, you gotta spend. It's a no money, no honey game right now, and that's removing a lot of access to a lot of people who are interested in this space. So I feel like Ethereum, they're facing this challenge right now of network congestion, continue network congestion. But that's also a good sign because there's a lot of tech coming along in its place to deal with this. I mean, so just yet again, fitting another bit of news in there. So projects like, say, for example, Uniswap, one of the biggest exchanges here out on ETH, they're if we go another week without publicly announcing details of Uniswap V3, I might go insane. This is Hayden Adams. He is one of the developers and inventor of Uniswap. I'm following him on my plat. But anyways, he is really dying to tell us what's going to happen next. And very likely something's going to happen very soon with Uniswap to make life a lot easier. V3 is coming out. So yet again, a lot of optimism on the edge, which is why I think I'm pretty excited to be very refreshed this week going into battle. I feel like this is a great opportunity opening up at this current point. So if you want to ask when box mining is bullish, like right now would be it. And I don't really pull this card very often, but yet again, yeah. So I definitely see this momentum coming in. All right, so that's kind of with the majors and with the alts. Right now, I feel like both sides. Not too much movement over the weekend. Yeah, not too much to talk about. Let me just quickly look at what's happening on the top 200. Yeah, we got some strong performance from Seller, Audio, Stent. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's quite asymmetrical still, like a bit better than what I thought it would be. And a lot of coins that I was holding was performing very well. So shout outs to, say, for example, Cyberfi was doing super well. Happy's doing super well. Yeah, it's a lot this weekend. I was like, oh yeah, this is enough to celebrate these two for some time. So anyways, that was pretty exciting. And the VeChain's doing super well too. So yeah, this weekend I was pretty. I mean, it's like at 9 cents 20. So if that's an old prices, that's $9.2, which is reaching its all-time high. Really, really exciting times ahead. So Victor Roque says thoughts on high, happy, and disbalancer. So yeah, I'm very into the Hacken ecosystem. You guys probably know. I'm actually really happy for Dimitri. It's one of those situations where I kind of really knew them as the bear market approached, and that was a bad time for them, right? There were fewer and fewer projects looking to get smart contract audits or looking at cybersecurity, and they continue to build through that. And arriving at this point now, as the markets are exploding and as a lot of hacks are happening, they're the kind of the frontline infantry to prevent this, right? So all of a sudden they turn from zero to hero in the space of just a few seconds like that. So yeah, so high in terms of high hacking, they're the white hats. They're the guys who prevent hackers. They're super strong at that. And then adding on top of that, there's Happy, one of their newest cybersecurity protocols out there. And people don't really know this yet, but this is something that projects must integrate in the future. Namely because as there are more and more hacks in the space, you need a way to stop the thefts, to stop the thieves from cashing out money and running and laundering that money. And this is one of the top ways to do it. So through Happy, the protocol to integrate, to spot and identify hack funds immediately and stopping those from poisoning the rest of the pool. That's actually relatively important if you tell me. So yeah, definitely see a lot of bullish momentum. Yes, this week has been extremely good for me too. I'm not going to brag too much. I feel like that's unnecessary, but yeah, a lot of movements on a lot of different altcoins that were just like kind of phenomenal for me at the very least. So that's kind of what I do. Like I wake up every day, look at my CoinGecko account, and like look at my portfolio, the coins I have. Like, oh, these are doing well. Okay, cool, great. But anyways, I digress. That's another story. So anyways, very quickly, let's move straight back onto the news. Let's see what is happening. So a little bit of negative news. So Coinbase settles with CFTC for $6.5 million over old trading practices. So Coinbase will pay $6.5 million fine to settle allegations it self-traded cryptocurrencies between 2015 and 2018. Oh, that's not something you want to be caught for, Coinbase. So we know that some exchanges do this. This is one of the unfortunate side effects of crypto, where you shouldn't really look at trade volume because trade volume might be fake. This is like where exchanges trade with themselves, right? To kind of move up the volume. You can be, oh, look, FOMO's coming. Look at the volume. It's great. Like, it's exciting, right? No, really, it's just a bot made by people. This is one of the longest accusations in crypto. That happens a lot. And it's one of the reasons why we don't really look at trade volumes on this channel, because a lot of times this could be done by either the exchange or the market maker. But regardless, Coinbase can easily pay that $6.5 million fine. I don't think that's a big issue for Coinbase at this current point. I mean, these exchanges are reporting $1 billion of quarterly profit, right? or revenue, revenue. So they're reporting billions of dollars. I mean, what is $6.5 million? I think if you want to pay for a good market maker, you're going to pay more than $6.5 million. Let's be honest here. But anyways, that Coinbase is paying that. And a totally unrelated reason, it's going to delay its public offering. So this is the FUD also hitting it. So not only are they paying this fine, but they were going to go public 1 month later than expected. So this is why the news actually does have a little bit of a bite, all right? This is why the fine does have a little bit of impact. Very likely it's related, all right? So Coinbase declined to comment. It was kind of funny. I was reading this, right? So, without disclosing a reason, Bloomberg says that the plans have changed. So, very likely this could be a possible reason why it doesn't look good. The fine wasn't very big, right? The fine is $6.5 million. Not a very big fine. But what is more important is it doesn't look good for the exchange, right? Because if they were faking volume, right, then what else are they faking? A lot of people will be asking this question. So yet again, this is where that little bit of FUD comes in for Coinbase. But I don't really think this is the big problem here. So it's very important to point out that they're like over old trading practices. They don't do that anymore. That's in the past. They're turning over a brand new leaf here. But anyways, regardless, it's delayed for at least 1 month going forward, and we'll have to see how that launch happens. But that's also quite good as well. The timing would be kind of impeccable, really, if it's in a month's time, because right now we're kind of recovering a little bit. The hype's dying a little bit down for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. People are getting bored. This is a really good thing because people who are really in it for the long term, boredom is not something people care about, right? Like if you're a long-term hodler, you want to wait for general public those to get bored, for this taxi driver to stop talking about cryptocurrencies, because that was a sign, right? If your taxi driver talks about crypto, you should really sell. But wait for general public to get bored. They lose a little bit of interest, and then the accumulation happens, and that's something that we definitely see here that's happening right now. I think if you look at the institutional investors that are coming into this place, the large buys, that's definitely the key here. So, anyways, going that. You can also see we also see some articles related to this. I kind of wanted to add some information to back this up. This is key Bitcoin price metric shows pro traders increase their Bitcoin long positions. So you can so if you look at the top traders, they've been longing Bitcoin, and that's the reason, right? So you can see the stats of the longs, people who are top, people who've been around for a long time. I feel like maybe there's a circle jerk. Maybe there is a certain element to that, because after Friday, how I was at the event at Genesis Block, everyone was bullish. I think 100% of the people was bullish. Obviously, right? If you go to a crypto event, you better be bullish. Otherwise, why do you go at all, right? But that being said, I think there is substantial reason for that going on at this current point. So, anyways, I feel like this is this is one of the more key metrics to look at. This not so much, I like Joseph Young, but he comments on price a lot. He used to be like someone who comment on fundamentals, but now he's like, oh, price makes a lot of sense because people click on these articles, and absolutely we should feed into that. But anyways, yeah, he's talking about the latest selling pressure from Bitfinex and what is happening on the U.S. Treasury yields. So yeah, I think the meta situation is still very, very much gearing up towards looking at crypto as a store of value across the board here. All right, let's see what is next. This is interesting for mining news. AMD, unlike Nvidia, won't try to block crypto miners from using its chips, is one of the reports. So something that you guys know about mining is that people who are gamers hate miners. All right, this is something that's been going on for some time, because if you're a miner, if you mine cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, you need to buy graphics cards, and these cards are used by gamers and they're highly valued by gamers. But the issue right now is that most graphics cards are out of stock, and Nvidia was trying to deal with this problem, right? They're trying to get like the 3060 more to gamers, trying to block crypto miners from using it. Not very successful, and AMD is coming out to say, you know what? We're going to try to cater to both. I think it's a great time for these card manufacturers, because all of a sudden, miners are buying this en masse, right? An update on that, because you probably know I've upgraded my gear. I've been buying graphics cards, etc. Right now, like the same cards that I was buying, they're being priced at 20% more for my entry price than my entry price. Thanks to Ethereum prices going up, more miners mining Ethereum. So yeah, prices are going up, and it's almost impossible to get any of these cards at this current point. So I don't know, kind of interesting. But if you do have a gaming graphics cards, I would definitely say, look into mining. Like it generates quite a few dollars per day. The best source is whattomine.com. I think that's probably one thing to look at. If you have a GPU, you can find the model number, and then when you have the model number, say for example, if you're modern and I have a 3070, so if you click one of those things on there, you can find out you could be generating quite a lot. Look at that. That's like 20. What? No way. No way. Is that even right for 3070? No way. No, okay, that's $5. Okay, so yeah, it's that did not make sense. That did not compute for me for a second there. Yeah, you're generating about $5 revenue per day on your 3070. That's not bad, actually. That's not bad. So if you're a gamer, this is actually a pretty good time for you. Just look into how to mine this. I'll do more tutorials. I've been mining part-time on this rig. Just when overnight I leave it on running and generating some profit. But yeah, it's around $5, not 20, but $5 is not too bad going forward. So yeah, not bad. AMD, probably would switch to it if I can actually find any stock. But you know, this is kind of interesting. Very kind of interesting. So Deutsche Bank is calling Bitcoin number 3 amongst global currencies right now. That's kind of interesting. This becomes one of the bigger meta plays here, right? Like, will this become one of the biggest currencies of the world? Will the banks now be forced to hold some form of cryptocurrencies? Because you know that foreign currency holdings is a pretty big thing in the world to kind of stabilize the fiat system. But Bitcoin provides a much better value proposition because you're not affected by how much money is being printed. So say, for example, right now, the Hong Kong dollar is actually pegged to the US dollar, right? So one US dollar is roughly around 7.8 Hong Kong dollars at this current point. And the Hong Kong government maintains that peg by holding a huge amount of US currency. But that also ties Hong Kong directly with the U.S. economy. If the American government prints more U.S. dollars, then and has set different inflation or deflation mechanisms, it's going to directly affect Hong Kong. But if Hong Kong sets its peg to, say, Bitcoin, right, and holds Bitcoin to defend that peg, that's going to offer a lot more opportunity. It's going to offer a lot more reliability because you know exactly how many Bitcoins are being mined per day. That's mathematically proven. There's not going to be any fundamental policy changes that's going to like a new QE or a new stimulus check to everyone. So that's actually going to be quite interesting. So with Deutsche Bank naming Bitcoin as number 3 currency, obviously, that's a pretty big rank. I don't think I would have expected this in 2012 or 2015 when people said Bitcoin. When Deutsche Bank was busy saying Bitcoin was dead, I wouldn't expect them to flip so fast like this, but this is how the world works. They are flipping very quickly, and the facts are really proving themselves. So yeah, I definitely see that there is a lot going on. Okay, next up on the news, we got even NYC's Highfalutin Guggenheim Museum is looking at NFTs. Job posting suggests. I think this is interesting. All right, so with the discussion on non-fungible tokens, right? A collectible form of art. Is it just a JPEG? Is it just an image? Or is it much more valuable? Well, now the art market thinks so. And you know why this is the case? Because there is this, right? That's the unfortunate side. That's the reality of this world, right? The world operates on this. The more money there is in something, well, the more someone is going to come and stand and champion something. So this is the case with the art world. So we saw a Banksy, the burnt Banksy going on sale as an NFT. We saw Beepos being sold for $69.3 million in an auction, right? Now these art museums are taking note, like, should they be collecting it? Should they not? Regardless of which, they know money is going to be made here. So yeah, everyone's just jumping on that bandwagon. It's kind of crazy. That being said, of course, there's a lot of videos right now about NFTs, whether it's a bubble, the biggest bubble in the world, or is this going to come out to something. So I do want to say a few things about this NFTs. Obviously, it's going very, very mainstream. You know, Jake Paul's doing some NFT stuff. We recently at Refinable, we're talking to a lot of other people, and everyone is jumping on board, right? Because I feel like the people who are out there, they can smell money, right? So that's good and bad. Good side is that people are going to understand this a lot more, right? This is something that people are going to, it's going to click to a lot more people because this is being approached at different angles. Artists are explaining what NFTs are, like tech guys like me explaining what NFTs are, museum curators explaining to what NFTs are. The adoption is going to come. But that being said, of course, something that is relatively unhealthy here is how much some of these NFTs are going for. So their starting prices are extremely high. And this is something very different from other collectibles. I mean, I think this is very well pointed out that a lot of collectibles, say, for example, like Magic the Gathering cards or Pokemon cards or your shoes or stamps even, the initial launch price of these assets were very low, right? Say a deck of Pokemon cards would have cost like $10 back in the day for a pack of 60, right? And then you can get your Charizards and get your rares, your legendaries there. And then eventually the prices will climb to thousands of dollars per Pokemon card. And that's a value appreciation over time. But the issue right now is that NFTs are being launched at extremely high prices, $69 million for a Beeple. Not many people can really afford that. So we're having a different launch condition. And I feel like the people who are speculating on NFTs right now, they're the mega rich, right? They're the mega rich, the people who have made a lot on ETH, right? And we talked a little bit about this with the Chain Guardian guys. The real NFT collectors inside the community, they wouldn't think in US dollars. They'll think in terms of Ethereum, right? Maybe they entered Ethereum at $10. So if they're like, oh yeah, 200 Ethereum, I entered ETH at like $10, that's $2,000 for me, right? Or something like that. But obviously 200 Ethereum at its current price, that's another story, right? 200 Ethereum ETH to USD. I think that would be like $350,000 at this current point. So there are definitely a lot of cryptocurrency early investors speculating in this place. And I definitely feel like it's not a market for me, to be honest. I will never spend that amount of ETH on a NFT, but some people do. And this is where I feel like it's not for everyone. I don't think like the general public should get access to this because it's way too expensive for most people to afford. And there's no proven long-term market yet. So I feel like this is where there's good and bad here. There's good that there are so many people interested in the space, and because of the amount of money flowing into the space, this is definitely going to become something in the future. That's a given right now. But whether or not these individual assets are worth so much, or whether I am speculating on something like this, no. But I'm speculating more on the technology side, the platforms that make this happen. So if that makes that distinction is very made clear. So recently I'm an advisor for Chain Guardians. They're doing a platform for video games, and they're doing these heroes in NFT form, and they're making games around that. Also with Refinable, a marketplace for NFTs. So if you get the gist, I'm more into the infrastructure side of things. But yeah, that's the take. I got an infinite amount of people asking me thoughts on BAO Finance. I'm just looking at the chat. I think a lot of people are asking about it. I have no opinion on it, to be honest. I mined it. Just to answer questions for the community, I mined like BAO very, very early on. Yeah, it's like, I hope it does well. I have a lot. I'm not gonna lie there. Quite a lot of it's locked up. I hope it does well. There's one guy who does really good job. I'm not gonna really say good things about it, bad things about it. I'll say, look, if you're interested in it, get it for free, right? This is with almost every single yield farm project. If it's a yield farming project, you can get the token for free, right? Stake X amount of coins, get those coins for free. I would never I would never speculate on that. It's way too much speculation for me. Like, yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. Keith Evans says, NFT, I'm afraid, is here to stay. It's a great time to learn and an opportunity worth/risk worth diversifying into. I think so. I think so. Mm. Water is great. Lots of talk. So yeah, reading the comments, I feel like, yeah. Looking at some of the comments, reading up there. Yeah. I feel like, so something we'll do is I'll do Q&A. So if you guys want to ask some questions, shoot them up here. one of the rules we do want to make for our Q&A section is that if you want to ask me about something, do provide the reason as to why that is something is interesting. If you want to ask, say something about BAO, like what specifically are you looking for? If you just ask for, oh, what are my thoughts on something, then I don't really know what you're looking for, and then I'll just fill in with a kind of a generic answer. But if you're very specific about like a criteria growing or a big make a big picture, something like that, it makes a lot of sense. For me, all right, the way I see a lot of things is I look at big picture first, and then I take on positions up on it. I kind of look at whether right now something is very hot or not. If it's super hot, I actually don't take positions. So if it's like if you see a chart or something just going massively up, if it did 100x already, generally speaking, I don't really take positions until I'll kind of remember it, and when the hype dies down, I'll kind of take a position. That's generally how my mind operates. And generally speaking, it's like it works. That strategy works in crypto because when there's a lot of hype, when everyone is telling you to buy something, very likely they want to sell it to you, right? I think that's kind of the way crypto has been operating for a long time. And in many ways, that's why on this channel, I never say, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world. I generally say something that worked out for me. But yet again, I have a lot more caution on that respect because yeah, that's the unfortunate side about crypto, right? Because there's a lot of self-interest. So I'm going to try to move conversations in this channel away from that direction where it's like, oh, buy X, buy Y, but more like why is something valuable, why is something important, and I would appreciate that thought. So. Terry Tom Brown says, do you expect a big Bitcoin correction this April? I have lots of ramblings about the Pi cycle coming soon into a local top, perhaps. These things are relatively hard to predict, I'll be honest. I've seen a lot of kind of analysis and 100-page articles on when the minimum or the maximum is going to be. But you can definitely tell from a lot of more experienced traders that a lot of people just dollar cost average in and dollar cost average out. Reason being is because the market can be extremely unpredictable, especially at the worst times. So people who have been in the space for longer, I think the longer someone's been in the space, the more of a kind of dollar cost averager they are. That's kind of weird, but it is the case. You expect that the people who have been here the longest, they can time things a lot better, but it turns out they have more of a realization they can't time everything. So I don't really believe April, honestly, is going to be where the local minimum is. I'm actually looking at June to where we're going to peak, to be honest. It kind of makes sense if you look at like let's see, the Bitcoin rainbow chart is something I kind of look at where you kind of look at where we're kind of going. So we're kind of moving up on the rainbow scale, right? So if you kind of follow that trajectory here, this is a logarithmic chart, right? We're kind of moving up slowly up from this is 2020, so this is September, so this is where we're at 10K. This is what at the bottom, this is where it's like basically a fire sale for crypto. Like this is where there's the least amount of activity. People were kind of bored here. In fact, I would say like the lowest point would be here, right? That was like at March when coronavirus happened. People freaked out, and this was one at the same time when I was literally saying on this channel, yo guys, if you look at the big picture here, this coronavirus thing is going to change how crypto operates, because the big picture here is really messed up, like in terms of politics and all that stuff. It's the more screwed up politics is, the more it's like more of a Bitcoin season, right? So it moved up drastically. I definitely expect us to reach the maximum bubble territory. So that's my thoughts on this. I feel like this is the way we're setting it up, and this is where the cycles have really moved in the past. And we definitely see there's a lot more interest, but the crazy interest is not there yet. Maybe for NFT space, it's starting to get there, but the amount of people paying attention to crypto and finally kind of giving in and buying into crypto is increasing. So I definitely see kind of June and July to be where we can kind of shoot up there. Maybe there could be something in April where like maybe it can drop down and we've seen that before, right? There were like these like it moves up and then there are drops along the way. That could happen. We never really had a major drop like this entire season, right? This entire chart, like for all the way from 2020, has been pretty much up all the way, right? This is unlike other times we had a rally where there were major dips along the way, but this time, relatively not. So it could be possible that there is a mini kind of dip in April and a move up towards June, July time. But that's kind of where I'm looking at. I'm not too concerned too much about like every month. I'm more concerned about, okay, can I move up? Can Bitcoin move up to $52,000, right? If that's the maximum bubble trade, can we move beyond that? That's going to be relatively interesting. So Brandon systems are halfway there. That's kind of crazy. Captain Crashes, what's next coin we should invest? So on this channel, we never give investment advice. I don't think it's wise. I definitely do tell you what coins I'm looking into. So I think that kind of makes sense, but I'll never tell you you should do this because everyone is different, right? And I think I made this quite clear where everyone's strategies are different, and I talk to different groups of people, right? So for me, I'm looking a lot into altcoins because I feel like as of this point, right? As of this point, people are definitely getting a little bit bored of the majors, and we definitely see the altcoin season coming in, perhaps hitting like perhaps reaching past 75, right? So this is the altcoin index, right? So if it goes low, it's Bitcoin season. If it goes high, it's altcoin season. So we're nearing the kind of the peak of altcoin season. I feel like people are getting a little bit bored. Like the people who are in this like 24 hours a day, they're getting like rapidly bored of both Bitcoin and Ethereum and the majors looking at the alts. So I definitely see that there's an opportunity for, at least for my personal play, to get up to around 80, like 89, 100 for this altcoin season, and then before it dies down. That being said, of course, I'm very prepared for major falls. So if it does happen, I'm not affected. Like I have a portfolio which is kind of isolated. The key thing here to remember with a lot of altcoins is that altcoin speculation is extremely intense. Like things can go up like double, but other things can fall like 95% in a day. So just be very, very careful of that. But yeah, lots of respect for that. I've been looking a lot at cybersecurity, as you guys probably know. So happy. I've been looking at that. I've been looking at the NFT market. So if you guys probably saw in the past, I've been talking a little bit about the WA token, a little bit about Refinable, Chain Guardian, Super Farm. I've been looking into all these. What else recently was good? Astro Tools. I'm not sure if it's too early to say this, but Astro Tools is something that I'm also looking into I think Leslie was kind of talking about that last week, but Astro Tools is something I'm looking into because they're doing a lot in terms of the charting, the graphing for everything. So the reason why this is kind of interesting is because of the relatively low cap. So it's below $10 million. And right now, if they can kind of prove some form of use case, because like right now, a lot of people use Astro Tools, right? Astro Tools and Dex Tools are the major ways to get intelligence on how a coin, the charts for a coin that's just launched, right? So if you're into like the newer coins, if you're looking into a lot of coins that are not listed on exchanges, Dex Tools or Astro Tools are the only ways for you to obtain that data, right? So that becomes plenty clear. And now the kind of key thing that's kind of holding Astro Tools back is two things, right? It's the monetization model, like how this functionality, if it works. If it's just to hold the coin, then it doesn't give too much value. But if it develops something with that token, that becomes very powerful. The technology, I think, is just rock steady, right? Like it's already being used, and also they're showing data that's a lot earlier than competitors. I feel like that's also another big benefit to this. So anyways, if you're asking for coins, that's something that caught my interest a lot recently. But this week I'm doing a lot more, to be honest. This episode, I didn't really plan it to be like an altcoin episode. I felt like This episode, I'll do the big picture this week to set the tone for everything going forward. And then the remaining episodes will be more in depth about what's going on. Recently, I've done an interview with the guys at ETHBox as well. They're talking about how to make transactions a lot simpler and to give the ability, if you send a transaction to the wrong location, to the wrong address, to retrieve that, which is something that people actually would need, right? But anyway, so this is something that's going to come throughout the week. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. I'm going to do a lot more content and answer questions away, especially if you guys are not watching this live. Leave a comment down below. Tell me why you're looking into a particular asset or what you are looking for in the space. Are you looking for low market cap altcoins that have a lot of potential, or are you looking for, you don't care about the market cap, but you looking at the fundamentals or like the DeFi blue chips? A lot of people love that term, but yeah, I'm adopting it too. But projects that can become fundamental infrastructure in decentralized finance. Like, tell me what you're interested in. I'll get there with that. Dot Moonshot says Alice is one of the largest NFT projects out there, but not getting much coverage. That is totally not true. That is totally not true, Dot. It's been like plastered all over Binance. I think it's got too much coverage, to be honest. I love their art, by the way. So yeah, if you guys are into Alice, I mean, that was a huge performance. So congrats to everyone who were into that. Lucas Y says, did I ever take a position in Alliance Block? So no. It is something very attractive. It's something very interesting, but I did not manage to take a position. I don't always take up positions. I was a little bit I think that they're super cool. Like, I talked to the team, they're super, super awesome. But what kind of was concerning was the investor unlock schedule on that one. So sometimes I do research and sometimes I don't take up a particular position. But yeah, that just doesn't look too bad right now, to be honest. I was initially afraid because when I was talking to them, I was near this explosive growth, and I was like, you know what? I'm interested. I love talking to you guys, but yet again, I'm a little bit afraid of taking a position at this all-time high, right? Like, I want to support you guys, but with unlocks coming up, I'm afraid, of course, the early investors were going to take a lot of profit, which will cause a potential dump. So yet again, different considerations, etc., etc. So that's my personal consideration. Yeah. Joseph Saylor says, this is not a channel that gives you financial advice. This isn't. It doesn't make sense for me to do that at all, right? But I think it makes a lot more sense to to document a little bit of my journey and my rationale behind a lot of how I approach a topic. So just being frank and honest about how I approach everything, I think that makes a lot of sense on this channel, and it actually provides information, right? So last bit of thing here, right? Last bit, maybe for inspiration. I feel like something that's relatively important is not just financial advice, but for everyone to plan their strategy that's suitable for them, right? And the other thing I find that I kind of gripe about is, this is my rant of the day, but so recently I've been seeing a lot of posts on both COVID, on masks, on vaccines, and the first thing I'll ever do, right, is not to reply, but to delete them and unfriend anyone who really excessively posts that. This is very important because if you're looking on your journey to success, you cannot get distracted by politics. The worst part about politics is that it takes an endless amount of time and you're not going to convince anyone of your views, right? I think that's pretty much fundamentally established at this current point. People who are going to take the vaccine, they're going to take the vaccine. If people aren't going to take the vaccine, they're not going to get convinced by you talking to them. Same thing goes with like what COVID is, wearing masks. Everyone has already taken a position. This thing has gone on long enough already and does not need any more discussions. And this is something that I found with people who outperform the market. They do not waste their time on like trying to like wrestle with politics or whatnot. They focus on what is going to be coming up next. They focus on what they are strong at and double down on their strengths. So whether it is they are very good traders, they'll double down and just keep on trading. Or they're good at markets, identifying new projects early, they'll double down on that. Or they're good at maybe like exchange bots. And I know a lot of traders who are good at that too, where they make some of the top performing bots that will take opportunity. But the key thing to remember here is that crypto is full and just like overflowing with opportunity right now, and it's your responsibility to take it. Because the last thing I want to see here is that I experienced the biggest growth, right? This giant leap, right? Not just Bitcoin, but with decentralized finance. I'm in the middle of it. And I don't want to be growing old one day and say, ha ha ha, I was there, but I didn't make any money because I was complaining about mask politics. Like, that is the dumbest stuff you'll ever see in a day. So that's my rant of the day. I think if you guys take anything from this, this is one of the biggest, like, I don't give financial advice, but this is life pro tips, okay? This is life advice, right? If there's anything that you get riled up in, you spend your time, you get super triggered, take a deep breath, make some money first. And then in the future, if you really care about that cause, pay someone else to do it, because they'll probably do it for free, for relatively cheap. Like, that's the way the world works, right? And you can definitely see that coming into play. Like, all these like flat earthers or like anti-vaxxers or whatnot, they probably have a little bit of money backing them. They're all paid shows anyways. And it's much more effective that way, right? Instead of making the impact yourself, you make the money first and then hire someone else to do it. I mean, just think about this, right? I don't ever worship people here. I always take inspiration from them and kind of modify my strategy. I mean, think about Sam Bankman-Fried, right? So a lot of people know that I revere that guy quite a lot, but I've never, not worship, but I definitely see a lot of the trades that he has. He made literally $10 billion in the last 3 years, right? If you want to establish a certain cause, you can donate 1% of that wealth. That'll be like $100 million, and they can spread that way. But anyways, that's my rant of the day. So if you guys are interested, I definitely feel like my thoughts are, be aggressive right now, learn. Always make yourself better and learn from people who are good. And then take some traits that they're good at and see if you can adopt it or you can beat them at it. Because if you can outbeat one of the top traders in this space, you're gonna be in for a hell of a lot of money. But anyways, that's my 2 cents. That's the last you'll hear about me talking about politics or COVID or vaccines or anything. I feel like those things are pretty well established here. That's my rant of the day. Like or hate it, whatever. Give me a thumbs up if you agree with that. Give me a thumbs up if you don't agree with that, because I don't care, right? Go have fun, go be smart, and that's pretty much it. Last thing as well. So I did promise I'll talk about farms at this current point, and it is quite strong right now, the farming scene. So I'll relay a little bit of experience on farming. So farming is a situation. How do I quickly describe this? So yield farming is something that I very actively participate in. I have deployed capital on pretty much at the same time, like 5 to 6 major farms to get a return on my money, right? So instead of having my money sit there, I deploy that capital to be used in yield farming, or for these yield farms to deploy that elsewhere, right? That's capital efficiency. So yes, I'm a very big farmer and a big miner. Now, a few things to talk about the farming scene that has changed substantially. So I think there was a period where there was like some crazy ass farming on Binance Smart Chain offering insane yields. Those ultra insane yield days are over, where you get 1,000% annual percentage yield, or maybe like say 3% per day, right? These days I think are almost over, but this is where a bigger focus is on the solid one. So I kind of saw that craze coming, and I was very glad that I was able to farm a lot of the coins like Egg, like Viking, like maybe like UFO Taco, all these weird ones, Alpaca, and they were profitable because I didn't speculate on the underlying asset. I just farmed it, took the free food, called it a day. The same thing goes with BAO, right? BAO, yet again, is one of those coins I farmed. I love it. But I got it for free because I farmed it. And that's a key difference. A lot of people who speculate, they can either it can either go, if they speculate and buy the underlying asset like the BAO or whatnot, it can go up, it can go down, but you don't get it for free. The key point about farming is you get it for free, right? So, anyways, that has been very profitable. But these days, as we're closing towards the kind of the mid of that farming season, there is a lot more scams going on, which means that it's a lot more dangerous right now. So I've been a lot more defensive on the farming front. I've been a lot more skeptical on the farming front. So that's kind of something that's I've seen 2 cycles of this. It's something that I triggered the skepticism very early. So at this current point, yes, I am still farming, but I'm farming a lot more of the kind of like the um a lot less profitable ones. Ironically, like say for example, um something like Wing is actually good. Like I've been in Wing since last December, and it's right now doing 100. Oh, my video is gone. Blackout. Wait a sec. Hey, hanging there, guys. I'm getting new video, so out of batteries on this current battery right now, so I lost my video feed. But so yeah, there's a battery out. It's always an hour, so you guys probably know like one of these batteries lasts an hour for this. So I'm running over an hour. But anyways, that's kind of my thoughts on farming. Like right now, I was talking to William. So thank you, William, for providing alpha. We were looking at float, and float was quite unfortunate because the yields this round was super low, right? You're looking at 50 to 60% yields, but you know if it's safer, why not, right? So that's kind of my take right now, where I'm a lot more okay with lower yields. Say something like 20% yield on my Swissborg app. I think that's still pretty good, a lot better than the banks. Yeah, float seems to be okay. Wing is actually quite good. I think Wing is 100%, but you need to migrate your assets over to Ontology. And that's my current take. I'll do a more detailed version of this. I feel like this is way too hard. Like I know I promised to talk about this, which at the start, which is why I'm trying to deliver as much information now. But yeah, I feel like I'm being a lot more defensive these days on yield farming, but I'm still doing it. If you guys are interested, into some of the stuff. Um. Anyways, we got a lot of questions. Your thoughts on Polka City? I have no thoughts on that. Viper Swap. No thoughts on that. So yeah, guys. Stone DeFi seems to be pretty cool doing cross. Like, there's some super farming opportunities there. We got Kijiji Allen says SBF shut down the stream. SBF OP, man. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much it. I know we're past an hour for this. Thank you guys so much for watching out of this. Yeah, guys, more stuff coming. Doing a lot more interviews. I'm actually doing an interview with Polygon today. So Matic Polygon, I think I'm super primed and excited for that because that guy knows the stuff, and we're gonna ask some tricky questions on that too, and it's coming up. So we're gonna make a video for that this week. I'm plenty excited for this week. So yeah, guys, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you smash up the likes. If you like this, share. If you like this video, obviously share this channel. It really does help more than you will ever know, like for sure. So guys, thank you guys. I'm definitely pumped for Uniswap V3. Alex asked if I'm pumped for Uniswap V3. I am super pumped for that. I am super exciting. George Goosen says hacks this weekend include Turtle Dex. Yes, Turtle Dex seems to have pulled a rug on everything. Luckily, I wasn't there. Yet again, this is why I'm kind of at a point where I'm seeing all the new stuff pop up and then they just die a few days later. I'm like, glad I'm not in there. So yeah, so I'm a lot more defensive when I'm mining now, or not mining, I'm yield farming now, but that's kind of the case. Why not? So yeah, anyways, guys, thank you guys so much. Colossal X is how to get ICOs like we used to get in 2017. These ICOs are hard to get as it's all about luck, and even in IEO like FB, if you go for $500, they distribute worth only $5. Yes, I definitely see right now it's a lot harder to get into new projects. It's actually becoming a relatively big problem. The reason why is because in 2021, the raises are much smaller for each project, which is actually makes sense, right? Like a project doesn't need $21 million to grow when it's just like 3 people. But having $1 million, okay, you can still kind of justify that in a way, right? So now the raises are a lot smaller. This is why a lot of these launch pads are very, very small quantity of tokens being released. And yeah, if you look at, a lot of people don't get a lot. So if you look at Duckstarter, there's a lot more projects, but a lot less raise for each project going on. Say for example, they're doing Cash Tech, Impulse, ETHBox, Cook, lots coming up. So there's a lot more coming up, but a lot less raise for each project, if you guys know what I mean. So I guess that's the current kind of take on everything that's coming on everything here. So Tidal coming up in a day, Shift Network coming up, Unmarshal, Convergence also coming up. So yeah, the raises are small, like 150K. You definitely don't see these like kind of public raises of like $10 million or something crazy like that. But yeah, it's a different scene going on. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for I like Bernard's comment. I would leave a comment, but that darn fake keeps giving me that phone number. I hope no one falls for that. So guys, I do have to warn you guys too. I know in the comment section there's a fake box mining posting out this ridiculous WhatsApp number. Do not contact that person. That person is a fake scammer. I've been like trying to like tear my hair out trying to figure out how to block these scammers. Guys, do not fall for that. Please. These guys just keep making new accounts. They name themselves box mining. They don't have the little check next to my name, but a lot of people just see the name, they see the logo, and they just go for it. It's a YouTube thing. YouTube is like super screwed up for that. So guys, the only real boxing is my one, and it does have a little check next to him. That means it's verified by YouTube. Everything else is a scam. They just like copy the name, and YouTube allows that for some stupid reason because YouTube, right? But anyways, guys, stay away from scammers. Guys, thank you guys so much about here. Stay tuned. The next live stream, the next scheduled live stream is gonna be on Friday. So see you guys then. But there's a chance I'll probably do some throughout this week as well. So if you guys are interested in the one on Friday, yep, it's gonna come up very, very soon up here. The Friday live stream coming up. Set a reminder. I'll send the link on, and I'll see you guys there. And with that, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out. Tell you a little bit about everything that's happening in the box mining ecosystem. First and foremost, if you guys like listening to all that's happening in crypto on the go, then I would highly recommend you checking out the Box Mining Bitcoin Out of the Box podcast. And the reason why it's called Bitcoin Out of the Box is because we have long interview segments very much exploring the detail of the newest and latest of what's going on in this whole cryptocurrency space. Whole idea of it is to bridge that gap between knowledge privileged institutional investors and the rest of us here in this space. Now, with the podcast, it's on everything. So it's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Google Podcasts, it's on Spotify. Just search it anywhere, Bitcoin Out of the Box. So just add that onto a playlist and just follow the new episodes when it's released. Next up, we also have the Box Mining newsletter. So this happens roughly bi-weekly. We give you an update of the latest that's going on in a very summarized, condensed format. So this is perfect for anyone that wants an overview of the market. Say, for example, what's happening with OKX, the biggest event, or maybe the little things like what's happening with different coins and overall the trend. So what I use the newsletter for personally myself is to understand what kind of phase we're in crypto, to kind of get in tune. So if you don't read crypto every day, the newsletter is perfect for you. Last but not least, in the link down below, if you're a Telegram user, we have the Box Mining announcements channel. So this is to announce to you basically what's the latest videos coming up, but also we have a daily update, a community-driven daily update to provide you an idea of the latest updates on a day. And a lot of people have been using that to get informed of the crazy amounts of trends that we see. And I have to give a big thank you for Claudio, our community member, for doing this. It's just been phenomenal. Definitely want to give you a shout out there, Claudio, as well for that. And taking us to the end of the live stream, so make sure, number one, you click like and subscribe on this video because it really does help this channel. And then, of course, check out the podcast. It's one of the best ways to know a little bit more, to extend that knowledge, especially in your spare time. And then, of course, check out the newsletter. If you're, if you want those updates and summaries and trends, newsletter is the place for you. And with that, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you have a good one. See you in the next video.